Beginning Sewing Level 1. I'm Janet Corzatt, and I've been teaching beginners to sew for about 20 years. In this class, we're going to be learning many sewing skills that you can apply to various projects. I don't feel that it does you much good to learn just how to make one item because you want to sew your own projects. We're going to be starting a sample notebook so that you can learn sewing language. You'll learn the various sewing skills and how they're applied to a garment or a project. And in this lesson, we'll be applying all of those samples to the project. We'll be learning directional stay stitching, clean finish, grading, clipping and notching, understitching, and a catch stitch hand hem. If you continue with all of the lessons in this series, you will be adding to this notebook and have a very, very thick notebook at the end that will allow you to know how to do lots of different things, and you can sew on your own projects with confidence. The project this time is the butcher's apron, and it looks like this. I tell my students you'll put more work into this apron than any other apron you ever make because there's a lot here for practice and for learning purposes. This one has the large pocket. You can also make it with a small pocket, like this one. Find a cute print that you'll enjoy working with. This one has a reverse of the same print that I used. And the pattern also includes the child size. This is the smallest of the children's pattern. We're going to start our sample notebook so that we can practice the skills before we do it on the apron. In your class materials, you'll find a template that looks like this. And using one of your 5-inch squares of fabric, you'll cut a little piece like so. It looks like the front of a doll dress. With this piece, we're going to practice directional stay stitching. Stay stitching is a row of stitching that's done on a single layer of fabric to preserve the shape of all of these curved areas and diagonal cuts. Your pattern will tell you where to place that stay stitching, and usually it's about a 1/2 inch from the edge. But since we're kind of working in miniature, for our purposes, we're going to use a 1/4 inch. I'm going to start by sewing the first armhole edge. I put my fabric far enough back under the foot that I can see fabric in the opening, and we'll just guide using the edge of the foot as a guide. I'll turn very gently around the corner until I come to the edge. Now we're ready to do our sample of clean finish. Clean finish is a way to finish a raw edge. It might be in preparation for a hem, in which case you would fold it up again to create your hem, or it could be on the inside of the garment to finish the seams so the inside looks as nice as the outside. We're just going to center this 1/4 inch that we've pressed, center it under the needle, and sew right down the center. We want to do our little back stitch, hit reverse, and now we can go forward. And we'll do a back stitch at the other end of the stitching row. Clip your threads close to the fabric, and now it's ready to go in the notebook. We can take a look at both sides. You can see the bobbin thread showing on this side, and the inside is our top thread.
We've got our strap all sewn, and so now we're ready to turn it right side out. Before we start doing that, we need to take care of these corners. So we're going to clip the little corners off on both sides. I like to take off a little extra at the end to eliminate some of that bulkiness, and also a little bit extra here at the edge of the corner. Now we're going to do the magic turning trick. We're going to make a little pinch crosswise, just about a 1/2 inch down from the sewn end, and pull it apart and push in the fabric with your thumb. This makes a little pocket where you can insert the eraser end of your pencil. Now we're going to push some of the fabric down on the pencil, grasp the pencil end through the fabric, and pull the other fabric off. We'll do that again. You want to do it in 2 or 3 parts at a time so that you don't have too much fabric turning at one time. Now it's turned right side out. We'll take the pencil out And we can put our chopstick in with the pointy end first. Just drop that in and take it down to the end of your strap. And you'll use this to gently push out the corners. You want nice square corners at the end. Then you'll take out your chopstick and you'll press your straps as wide and as flat as you can make them.
On these straps, I want to sew very close to these edges, so I've put on a special foot on my machine. You might have a similar foot. This is an edge stitching foot, or some machines label it as a blind hem foot. It's used for both.
And now we're ready to finish the rest of the neck strap. We're using the finished end, and we're going to put it between and through both of the D-rings. Bring it through, and then in between the two, and pull so that we have the finished end. And then we'll turn under about 3/8 of an inch on the raw edge on the opposite end, and this will be attached to the back side. We want it to go down just a little further than the folded upper edge, and we will connect this with a couple of pins, just like we did before. You'll be sewing on these 2 horizontal lines of stitching. A little back stitch at the beginning and the end will secure the strap.
So I have the straps attached now, both the neck strap and both of the side straps. That leaves us with just the pockets. You can try on your apron and position your pocket about where you want it to be, and then we can go through the process of centering and leveling. You could also fold your pocket in half and make a little bit of a crease in it, and then do the same to the apron, and that helps you get started with positioning. Use your tape measure to check that your pocket is level by measuring from the upper edge of the apron to the upper edge of the pocket. Those measurements should be the same. And then measure from the corner to the side on each side, and that should be the same, so that you can get it positioned just the way you want it. After you have it placed, you're going to pin it into place by putting your pins crosswise all around the edge of the pocket, about 2 or 3 finger spacing. You'll need quite a few pins to do this. And then you're ready to sew. If you have that edge stitching foot, this is the time to put it back on. And we're going to sew a row of stitching very close to the edge, and then a second row about a 1/4 inch in. One little hint, I know from experience, when you're sewing the pocket on, be sure to keep your straps out of the way and keep them out from behind the apron. You don't want to sew your straps to the apron. So I finished my rows of top stitching on the pockets, and now our apron is ready to wear. You should feel very proud of what you've accomplished. You've made an apron. You've got a good start on your sample notebook with all of the level 1 samples. In level 2, we're going to be using Palmer Plesh 002, and our project will be a kimono-style robe and more samples for your notebook. In level 3, we do 2-piece pajamas, which is just about the same as making a camp shirt and pull-on pants. And if you continue on to the last level, level 4, we'll be making all kinds of samples, and your notebook is going to get really thick. Remember, this is a great tool that you can refer to when you're working on any of the projects on your own. It will give you all the information you need as you're working through a pattern so that you can find out what the sewing language means and how to do all of these various skills that you're learning. Have fun sewing. See you soon.